I knew it when I found the hair. While changing the bedsheets, I found a long black hair, curled up right next to my husband's pillow. There's no way it could be mine, I'm blonde. Any idea who this is from? I demanded, shoving the hair in his face. What is that? A hair. I found it in our bed. He looked from me to the hair, then back again. Are you saying you think I'm cheating on you? Of course that's what I'm saying, I wanted to shout. There's another woman's hair in our bed. But I swallowed, stepped back and took a deep breath instead. Do you know whose hair this is? No idea. Maybe from Tanya, when she visited. I mean, to be fair, Greg's never given me any reason to think he's cheating. He's a computer nerd who spends most of his time on Reddit or playing D&D. He's attractive, but not an Adonis by any standard. I haven't noticed any missing time, and he doesn't seem overly protective of his phone. But the clues kept piling up. For one, I started finding the hairs everywhere. One on the kitchen counter, another in my home office, few on our couch. When I emptied our Roomba, there were a dozen or more, all tangled up with the dust. One night I smelled perfume. Greg claimed he couldn't smell it. How could he not? It was really unique. Sweet and floral, yet with a tangy undertone, almost sour. Smelling it made my stomach turn. Another night I went into the bathroom and saw something small and red on the tile, like a shard of plastic maybe, that had broken off something. I bent down and picked it up, only to find that it looked like a fingernail. Yellowish white on one side, red lacquer on the other. But it was so small I really couldn't be sure. Little incidents like this kept happening every few weeks. A hair, a whiff of perfume. Every time I almost had a panic attack. Sometimes I'd confront Greg in a wild rage. Other times I'd just innocently ask him what it was. Depended on my mood. How desperate I was feeling. He continued denying it, and I really, truly started to believe him. I told myself that it was all in my head. I was being paranoid. My marriage was fine. But then I found the smoking gun. On Saturday, I was supposed to go out to dinner with a friend. But as soon as I got to the restaurant, I got a text from her saying she had to cancel. Disappointed, when I got home I went straight up to the bathroom and started a nice hot shower going. I peeled off my clothes, waited for clouds of steam to pour out, and then threw back the shower curtain. There was something in the drain. I bent over to inspect it, and my blood ran cold. It was a clump of black hair. How do you explain this? I yelled, running out of the bathroom naked. I dropped the wet clump of hair on his chest. He stared at me, at a loss for words. Oh, her hair was in the shower. Whose hair? He asked, picking the clump off his shirt and grimacing. Don't you fucking gaslight me. Your girlfriend's hair. Haley, he looked into my eyes, and he really did seem honest in that moment. I really don't know whose hair this is. But I'm not cheating on you. How stupid do you think I am? I growled like a rabid animal. Another woman's hair. Shower. Okay, you need to calm down. He threw the hair on the nightstand, stood up, and gently wrapped his hands around my shoulders. I understand why you would think I'm cheating, but I'm not. I promise. She's in the closet, isn't she? What? I looked down at the trail of water on the carpet, leading straight from the bathroom to the closet. That's just from me. I just took a shower and went to the closet to get my clothes. I sidestepped him. Haley, he said in a warning voice behind me, but I didn't listen. I ran across the room, grabbed the double doors and slid them back. It was empty. Pushed our shirts back, kicked the piles of laundry on the floor, even went on my tiptoes and checked the high shelf. Nothing. I told you I wasn't having an affair. This doesn't prove anything, I wanted to yell. So she's not here. It still doesn't explain the hair, the perfume, or any of the other fuckery going on in our house. But I forced myself to shut up. Because no matter what I said, if he were having an affair, he wouldn't tell me. I'd have to find out on my own. The next day I left for my mom's. I left before he woke up. With everything going on, I just couldn't face him. I needed space. Time alone. I sent him a text after I got there, telling him I'd be home in 3 days. But I just missed him too much, so I came back after 2. I drove home in silence, my knuckles white on the steering wheel, my heart pounding in my chest. I pulled into the driveway near midnight. The house was dark, except for the dim night light we always left on in the bathroom. I quietly slid the key into the lock and opened the door. The house looked just like it did when I left. Dirty dishes piled up by the sink, and a clump of laundry sat in the corner. I walked over to the stairs, trying to be as quiet as possible. And then I heard it. Light, thumping footsteps, coming from right above me. My heart dropped. I ran up the stairs, taking them 2 at a time. No, no, no. I raced down the hallway, our door looming at the end. Can't be. It can't. I burst into the bedroom. The adrenaline rushed out of me as I realized. It was empty. Well, Greg was there, in bed, asleep, or pretending to be. But the room was dark and silent, and everything looked as it should. Did I imagine the footsteps? No. There was no way. I scanned the room slowly, looking for anything out of place. My eyes caught on the closet. No. Sticking out from the slats was a lock of black hair. My blood ran cold. I took a step forward, my heart hammering in my chest. "Greg, I know you're not asleep," I said softly, not taking my eyes off the door. He didn't stir. "You're playing some sick kind of game, Greg, you know that?" I whispered, my eyes locked on the black hair. "Come out now," I said, my voice shaking. "Or you'll be sorry." A faint thumping sound in reply. I ran over to the closet doors. My hands locked on the handles. I sucked in a breath. "Haley!" Greg was slowly sitting up in bed, rubbing his eyes. "What are you doing back so early?" I turned to him. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in days. Eyes red and swollen, deep circles underneath. I let go of the doors and backed away. He reached for me, but I kept going until my feet hit the cold tile of the bathroom. I grabbed the door and shut it in his face. Clicked the lock. The bathroom was dark, only lit by the nightlight. My panicked breaths echoed against the walls. I wrapped my arms around myself and began to sob. There's no way that could be my husband's mistress, because she was dead. The night I found the hair in the drain, I snapped. I stole Greg's phone and eventually found the secret stash of texts. Quick Google search found her address. I went over there at 4 a.m., raging with fury, and ended the only threat to my marriage. Then I went to my mom's house, because I couldn't face him. Came back after 2 days because I missed him. But I never should have come back. A soft sound jolted me from my thoughts. A wet squelch. My head snapped to the bathtub. There was a dark shape behind the shower curtain, shifting slowly, as more wet smacks echoed against the walls. I reached for the light switch. Bright light flooded the small room. I squinted, wiping the tears from my eyes, and then glanced at the bathtub. Nothing there. But when I pulled back the curtain, there was a clump of black hair in the drain.